Alright, so I'm going to do a quick deck profile for Scareclaw. This is before Cyberstorm Access. This is the build that's been really working out really great for me. And there's going to be a couple of changes post Cyberstorm Access. But there's some great cards in here, like the Vanadium Fearless, which is going to have like a level 2 Earth Tuner, making being able to make beasts, and especially Vicious Astroloud gives you access to that extra push just in case they break your board or what. Uh, it may I've been testing it online. It may give some changes and some push to it, but so far this is the build that I'm working on, and so far really working really great. So just in case I want to go back, I have reference, and if you guys want to try this out, feel free to. We'll start with the monster. Obviously, the Reichart, triple Reichart searches your Scareclaw spells and trap, and gives you that extender, being able to make Tryhard a lot faster, and then just to make Lightheart too. So for all the Scareclaw, I max out on all of them because it's basically one card starter to get more monsters on the board. And then we have the Astra. The Acro is basically plus 300 for defense position monster you control. Astra gives you additional attack for different Scareclaw monster name. And below is just a piercing, but it's also a Scareclaw monster, so it gives you that access to be able to make Lightheart right away. And then the one Visa Starfrost, because it's not necessary in the combo, but it does have like that extra effect that you can utilize. For example, Twin Saw, instead of destroying them, you get to banish it as well. And it's also a level 6 tuner, so there's a build in here where you can make Barone. So those are the Scareclaw monster, and then partial Scareclaw slash Kashtira, which actually helps out a lot. I really like it. The Scareclaw Kashtira, because you can normal summon it with Birth, or you can special summon it by banishing a Scareclaw or Kashtira monster. So with that being said, we play triple Unicorn. A lot of the deck profiles I've seen have been playing Kashtira Fenrir. I'm not a big fan of Fenrir, sorry, but I like Unicorn a lot. If there's anything that's gonna get hit in the ban list, I feel like Unicorn might be a 1 or even banned, just because it has access to opponent's extra deck, and it also grants you to get the spell card, which you can keep reborning, which is very important because one, it's a special summon. It's an additional monster. You link it off to make Tryhard, and then you can bring it back. And then the Birth would have this back on the field, so you can, if they activate a spell, you can banish 3 cards in their graveyard. So really amazing. I really love Unicorn. So in terms of the Kashtira part, it's just a Scareclaw, Kashtira, and then Unicorn, and you can even banish this from the graveyard and then just bring it back with Birth. So it's a lot of recursion and a lot of utility too. Triple Parallel Exceed, because it does give you that access to be able to make the Code Breaker combo, and then either gives you the Appaloosa play or the what do you call it, the Griffin. So it's just an extender as well. Triple Ash Blossom and triple Nibiru as just my hand trap. Nibiru is really awesome because you give him a monster, and even if you put it in attack mode or defense, those are still 2 monsters that count, as once you get into Tryhard, they'll go to defense. So you can max out on the Reichart being able to search and then draw. So these are my choices for the hand trap, which I feel like after Cyberstorm Access, Droll and Lockbird would be a lot better. In terms of the spell, we have the field spell, obviously, that searches it, and then the one terraforming. Is really good to open up with like the field spell or one of the Scareclaw, just so you can keep your combo going. And other Scareclaw cards that you can search off for Reichart would be the double arrival. I used to max this out at 3 just because it's not a once per turn to do the reborn, but it is once per turn to just be able to save your link monster, which you only really need it once. Once you survive that, you're good to go and keep following through. And then the last one would be the defanging, which is actually really helpful, being able to pop one other card, or if you have the Tryhard, anything that it destroys, it gets banished. So really useful. In terms of the Kashtira spell, I honestly wanted to play more than just one Kashtira spell to be able to search from Unicorn, but I think the one Birth is fine because there's times where it's a dead card. If if you do open up with the birth without opening up the unicorn, you can still activate it. Normal summon the Cash Scareclaw. So there's a lot of play that you can utilize with this. And then the other spells would be double thrust and the one tactics talent. I wanted to max out on the thrust just because there's a lot of normal spell and trap in here. Even if going first they don't have a monster, instead of you adding the normal spell or normal trap, you can actually just set it to your side of the field, so which is still pretty helpful. I'm a big fan of the thrust. I've been testing it, and that's why I end up wanting to just get the card itself. Outside of that, a couple of things that thrust can also add to your hand would be change of heart, mind control. Same concept, same premise as the talents, where you can take control of your opponent's monster, because it doesn't even really matter. It's just as long as it's an effect monster, you can take it and then use it as a material for Tryhard. That's why mind control and change of heart are really good in here, because one, it solves your problem. You break their board, you take their monster, and then you can build yours by making it to Tryhard, because it's only 3 effect monsters. Talent, I love talent, but since we have the thrust, you can just add this to your hand and be able to either draw, look at your opponent's hand, and or just take their monster. So outside of that, we have the duster. Even though it's at 1, same concept. It's just you have the thrust, so you can add this and then just blow a back row and then just go with your play. And actually, with the code breaker, I skipped on this part just because I wanted to showcase this with a tiny engine of these two. Tryhard having the arrows right here, just all 3 in the bottom, it actually helps out with the code breaker combo. So what you do is that you have the Tryhard here, and then as long as you have two other monster and you're not locked into Scareclaw just yet, as long as you can make that, you can link into the Swordsman. The Swordsman will summon the code breaker 0 day, and then that's the 2. You link this off into the Berserker. Berserker will summon these back from the graveyard, and then from here you can pretty much do different kinds of combo. You can make Berserker and 0 day into Griffin, or you can use these 3 into Appaloosa. And there's even like a Go key that's unaffected and it gains, and you can also tribute itself to destroy cards. So there's different versions of the combo. This with the Parallel Exceed makes it to where you can expand a whole lot more, and just doesn't, you don't end up with just like a mediocre board. You can have a big combo with a Griffin, and then Griffin would be over here, and then if they don't play Link monster, most of their monsters that special summon, they won't activate their effect. So I just wanted to like set that one aside. With that being said, we'll finish up the main deck with the trap cards, which is the Twin Saw. I've seen a lot of like Scareclaw card or Scareclaw deck that doesn't actually even play Twin Saw, which I love this card, because one of the biggest weakness of the deck is against Link monsters, because Link monsters don't go to defense, and now they can kind of keep pushing and kind of be able to kind of go up against this deck. So Twin Saw solves that problem. One, being able to destroy the Link monster, so they won't have anything on the field, or if there's a Link 3 or higher, then you can banish this from the graveyard, and all the Link monsters won't be able to activate their effects on the field, which in this case, Tryhard is a continuous effect, which they'll keep putting it in defense, or Griffin is also a continuous effect where they can't activate it. You don't necessarily need your Link monster to be able to activate effect unless you have Appaloosa on the field. That's the only downside. But other than that, it's still really good. Splash is just the one negate. The part where you can bump or make your opponent, your Scareclaw monster, be able to, I think, gain like attack or defense, that rarely comes up. And then the other traps will be just the infinite impermanence, which I feel like this is going to change because of trap tricks. You can really only imperm the little ones, the links and the exceeds. You can't you can't really imperm them because they're unaffected by trap cards. But I think this might be better to be like a different card, like a droll. And then the last one is one of my favorite, but it does become like a dead card if you don't have the full setup. It's Gorgon's Eye. Tryhard will put everything in defense, and if you activate Gorgon's Eye for the rest of the turn, so it's basically, and it's a normal trap card, so they won't be able to just try and it's not a floodgate where they can cosmic cyclone it or destroy it. Once you activate it, it resolves for the rest of the turn. Any defense position monster effect is negated. So I love that card. Now in terms of the extra deck, we do max out on the Lightheart because you go through this guy so much, outside of not even with like Kashtira being able to like banish one or so. Throughout the whole game, you keep every turn you're able to make a Lightheart just to search the field spell, either bring it back if you have Visa Starfrost, and it's also another Scareclaw name. So if you destroy, if you summon this, search, and then you destroy it with Visa Starfrost, goes in the graveyard, you summon it back, and then you link it off to another Lightheart, you get that additional field spell search. Even though you can't activate that field spell that turn, you still have that card already, so you get all your searches. And then right now I'm still playing triple Tryhard because he's the big boss, he's the main guy, he's the one that you really want to go to when you're playing your combo. And it just puts everything in defense, and he's unaffected by monster effects that's in defense, so really amazing. Outside of that, to keep pushing through, like I mentioned earlier, is the Codebreaker combo, the Swordsman and the Berserker. It just keeps bringing it back, and this one, the Swordsman, is also a floater, so if it gets destroyed by battle or card effect, it brings itself back, but it gets banished after. I'm playing one Almirage just because of those like odd, like really weird hands where you don't really have much extender, but you have one Scareclaw monster and then a Parallel Exceed, because you can normal summon it, link into Almirage, and now you have a link monster that points down, so you can summon the Parallel Exceed. This is most likely going to change for better option like the Vicious Astrolaud and the Naturia Beast, but as of right now, just to keep the deck consistent, I have one link. And then for the Charmer, the Dark, because there's a lot of like dark decks out there that you can summon it back and then you can use it as a link, or summon it back and then utilize it. Like for example, if they have a Dragoon or a Rindrum or any other dark monster, that I'm just using that as an example because that's what I play against with my buddy. But you can be able to get rid of it and then use Dark to summon it back, and then use this with other monster to link it to Tryhard. Now you have that Dark monster, and then this can with this one, it kind of sucks going first because there's really nothing that you can search except for 0 Day, which 0 Day gets summoned from the deck or graveyard anyway, so it doesn't really matter by using this as a floater. But Asa, whatever her name is, she can search one of the Scareclaw monster, which is a starter, so that's actually pretty good. For the other links, Unicorn and Griffin, because they're really good link monsters and just kind of generic. And the best thing about this is that with Griffin, since it's going to be co-linked with Tryhard, you get to discard a card. The card that you'll discard, you can set it, which is most likely the Twin Soul, that's a combo, and then you get to draw a card. And then for the bigger links, Appaloosa and then Underworld Goddess, if there's like a card that's unaffected, you just bring out a bunch of monster and then try and go into Underworld Goddess so you can get rid of it because it's mostly summoning condition. But yeah, that is the deck as of right now. Pre Cyberstorm Axis, I'm also gonna have to do a deck profile post Cyberstorm Axis and see how the deck works. I just wanted to do this deck profile just so in case it doesn't work out, there's always a reference, or I can go back to. If you guys want to try out the deck, feel free to, and have fun.